There's so much light here, I almost feel it's a daytime. I have come to put my head on the doorstep of the beloved and take the love on my head. Go with it. And if you tell me no, I'll break your no and take sweetness out of it. There's a beautiful metaphor here. He says nay. Nay means sugar cane. So nay also means no in Farsi. He says, if you say no, I break your no. There is sugar in it. I break that nay. Nay, take sugar. From your rejection, I take sugar. I have come like the mind and the soul, hidden from all eyes, invisible. So I can take, hidden from all eyes. So I can take the light for the eyes of my heart. This was the beginning of the ghazal I just read with Jamie. It was improvised. I hope you enjoy it. If my beloved break my heart, if my beloved breaks my heart, I'll give my life on top of it. It's an amazing beloved, no? That the beloved that can break your heart and you still give your life for. It's the beloved that is sitting before my eyes. Everywhere I look at, I see my beloved. Where else I can look at? It's the beloved that has taken over. I'm sorry. Omi, do you need a minute? Okay. Patient. The beloved has taken over the city of my heart. Where can I travel to? You know, there is this notion when your heart is broken. It's an incredible noise. Somebody is boiling. It's the lover that's boiling, not the beloved. The beloved is having fun. But the lover, you see, the lover is giving the life on top of the heart. The lover comes hidden because the lover doesn't want jealousy around. The lover doesn't want danger. Wants to come unnoticeable, like the mind and the soul. So we can take from the beloved the light for the heart. There's So much depth here. And then he says, I have come for a robbery. I have come to steal the gold from the king, from the beloved. So the lover suffers, but comes hidden, comes to take light, and has nowhere to go. It's not one of those loves that you go for a trip, you stay away, and then you forget. It's the one that wherever you go, the beloved is in your sight. At the end, he says, this poem is an answer to the beloved quest who said, I brought you wine, take it now, and if not, I'll give it to someone else. So Rumi says, I wrote this ghazal to show I'm ready to take on the wine of the beloved at the moment. That's why I wrote this ghazal, to show I'm ready to go. So today, I want to thank you really from the bottom of my heart. It was raining. It took me a while to get here. I was expecting an empty room with my very close friends. Some of them haven't arrived yet, but you are here. And it's incredible. It's incredible. Sorry I'm sitting up. I can see everybody from here. And you are. You are. You are. We all share the love for Rumi. That's why we are here. So, I want to confuse you tonight. I brought you Rumi in a nutshell. Is it possible to put Rumi in a nutshell? I think it's possible to put God in the nutshell. But not that I think, because if I think, I cannot. That only can be in the heart. So you can feel God in your heart, as Rumi says. And that's almost as big as a nutshell. It's a kind of a bigger nutshell than a pistachio. I don't know, you all have your hand out? So I'm going to confuse you. Maybe you stop thinking. Maybe you start. Maybe you have questions later about, oh my God, all these concepts. This page is an inspiration from the work of Mullah Hussein Kashifi. He was a Rumi scholar who lived around 400 years ago. Stories say that his speeches would capture hundreds of thousands of people. Like in some places they say 50,000 people showed up to listen to him. He was a great orator. He wrote many books, and his main expertise was Rumi. So people at the time asked him to compose a summary of Rumi. Rumi is very difficult. You start a story, it doesn't end before 10 other stories begin and doesn't end. And then next year he remembers, oh, let's go back and finish our story that we started. And then within his stories, he brings many teachings that he wants to share. So Mullah Hussein creates a book called Lob-e-Lobab, or it's first called the Lobab of Masnavi, which is half of Rumi's teaching work. And then his disciples tell him, it's too much. Already still too complicated. Can you please make a summary of this? So he creates another work, which is called Lubbe Lubabe Masnavi, which means the summary of Masnavi. So there he is like a university professor. He put Rumi's teachings in subtitles, creates a syllabus. It's not what Rumi intended to do. He intended to create a book like a scripture that starts, floats, ends. And he didn't want to edit it, pre-plan it. It happened just like that. So I've been listening to and reading Lubbe Lubab for almost 10 years. I thought it's time to share part of the index that I was inspired. I tried to translate it to what can make sense in English. There is 3 branches. So the beginning, Mullah Hussain creates 3 branches. One is Sharia, which is the Islamic law. And Rumi has some beautiful work on it, which makes all the practices very different, super spiritual and incredible. The second branch that I brought you is the path. And it is universal. I think we will find this part in most other spiritual paths in different ways, but I brought you the second branch. It's the secrets of the path. They call it tariqat. What you need to be a better person, what you need to know so you can go on the path, to understand Rumi's experiences for yourself. And then the third branch is haqiqa, is the truth, which I didn't prepare it. Maybe another time. If you're not sleepy, I go over some of the branches. Or if you're sleepy, I can read you a story. Who is for a story? Who is for the branches? I'm gonna go briefly. There's no way I can. There's no way that I can go all of it. It's 1/4 of Masnavi. It's 25% of Masnavi is under these subtitles. So there's 6 branches. The branch number 1 is on your left hand, in the corner, at the beginning. It starts with seizing the moment on the very corner on the left. Seizing the moment. And goes to repentance, number 2. It's because we lose our time, and Rumi tells us this is the greatest sin, one of the greatest sin. And repentance is one of the 8 doors of heaven that's always open. And Rumi says, you have to always go back and seize the moment. And if you're losing your time, spending it in a wrong place, you have to find out, repent, and have the company of the pures, of the good. Because that's the best way of spending your time. You cut the time that you spend in elsewhere and look for spending your time right. Then it goes to the second branch. I can read you a few verses on the first branch. Oh, and the fourth side of the first branch is seeking, claiming. You claim and pursue. First you seize the moment, work on your moments, you repent deep. You choose right companies, good people's company, and you claim your life. You claim and pursue. You don't go back again to the beginning. Rumi keeps saying, don't go back. Once you start, get on it, be done with it. Don't go back. The second branch is about finding a guide, a peer, a spiritual leader. And Mullah Hussain brings Rumi's work on that. At what is the qualities of this spiritual leader? It's very important to find those qualities, because most of those leaders will send you to the wrong direction, because they like to appear as those, but they don't have the warmth, the heart, the actual experience. It's extremely important, this second branch. And Mullah Hussain brings Rumi's expressions and Rumi's explanations of what is that you should look in a spiritual leader. It doesn't have to be a guru. It could be just a good person, a good friend, but it needs to have those qualities. And someone who has been on the path. And then if you find a real spiritual teacher, then how to be polite and respect them. Because it's very interesting. Rumi goes over many stories. I can find you some that we forget to respect. And because of that, not being polite, we can lose the sight. The third branch is, and there is 7 different politeness that Rumi explains based on Mullah Hussain. I don't go over all of it. The third branch is how to start going on the path and get on the journey. Take on the path with the peer, with the spiritual teacher's guidance, and also your friends, your true friends, and your forethought. You have to be very vigilant, because there is many bumps. So many people, Rumi says, like the pig jumps into the pot of colors, like paints, and comes out and says, hey, look at me, I am a peacock. I can lead you now, I'm different. And Rumi says, many people would get that deception, they believe in that pig. Except for those who would ask him, so do you smell like a peacock? Do you sound like one? Do you know the knowledge in the heart like a peacock? And so in the third, again, how we go on the path. We need someone who knows. And the best one, I would say, is Rumi, if you have access as a spiritual leader. The spiritual leader doesn't have to be alive. It can be Rumi himself. That you go to his work if you can have access, understanding, and follow. And your friends, and your forethoughts. And then that brings you I tried very hard to translate this one, jazbe. In English, I found rapture, or mystique, or higher attraction. So there would be a moment once you go on the path that you feel a special attraction from the universe. And Rumi talks about that. He says, you have to work hard until that special experience comes. Then many things happen without you working very hard. Once you arrive at that point that you have a special insight, you arrive to that blessing. And then you go. It's no work. You may work more than everybody, but it's not work. It's happiness, it's pleasure. This law of attraction is a special love, attracts you, moves you. And that is in the third branch. یار باشد راه را پشت و پناه چون که نیکو بنگری یار است راه. So in this third branch, again, he emphasizes on the friendship. The friendship that in Farsi we have many words for it, but this particular one means the helper. A friend that also is your helper on the path. He is your back, your backbone. He is your protection. And if you look clearly, your yar, your friend, is the path itself. It's so important to be with a friend, with a true friend. I see people getting sleepy. I'm gonna stop in very soon. Oh, maybe one more branch. And اصل خود جذبه است لیک خواجه‌تاش کار کن موقوف آن جذبه مباش. The goal is to get to that attraction, to that point that the rapture happens, that special experience happens that moves you with you. But if you haven't experienced it yet, Rumi says, work hard. Don't wait for it to come. Do your thing. Follow your hard work. And then on the fourth, I would like to explain the fourth. It's really cool. And then we go maybe to a story. A fourth branch is to quit 10 things. And at the same time, you demand, you claim 10 other qualities. Because just quit smoking doesn't work. In Rumi never tells you just quit. He says quit and get this one instead. Fill it up. ترک دنیا و طلب آخرت. To leave your earthly desires. Quit worldly desires. Claim and pursue eternity. As far as we all know that. I mean, people that are here, I go over later. There is a story here that's good. I tell you the story about this leaving the earthly desires. There's a donkey that is very hungry, has a very bad condition, always carrying heavy load, and the king's staple manager is the friend of the donkey's owner. He comes to the donkey's owner and says, why this donkey is so miserable? And the owner says, I have no food for him, and I'm poor, you see, you know me. He says, should I take him to the king's stable for a while so he can get fed and you can leave your job for now, like doing it yourself until I make this donkey healthy again, I'll bring it back? He says, yeah, of course. So the stable manager, the king's stable, amazing. This poor donkey arrives at the king's stable. Everything is on time, food, like they even caress him, wash him, just like every other horse in the stable. And Rumi says, Pooz bala kard. The donkey put his looked like this to God. What is this, God? Why should I have so much suffering and these horses have so much wealth and happiness and everything is provided for them, and I had to live through all that suffering? So as he complains and complains and complains, there's a time of war. The music of war begins, and they come and take the horses to the frontier. Next day, the horses come back. Some don't. And the ones who come back, many of them have like serious wounds. They're dying, or they're like being cured for serious injuries. And the donkey looks at them and says, "Okay, God, I guess I'm better off living poor." Because being in a king's stable doesn't mean they're happily ever after. I mean, I can go work now. And this is the, Mullah Hussein puts this story in leaving earthly desires and pursuing eternity. So don't nag just because somebody else has something. They may face the frontier. There is that. And then ترک هوای نفس و طلب صفای دل. Instead of your selfish desires, quit your selfish desires and claim and pursue the purity of your heart. Rumi has the expression that you destroy this building, which is your earthly, selfish desires. You destroy it. Just like you demolish a ruin and then you get the treasure out. Because in the past, the treasures were always in the ruin. And then you build a better body. It doesn't mean like you actually suffer forever with your physical desires. But once you get to the purity of the heart, those will come too. ترک صحبت نامناسب و طلب خلوت و عزلت. To quit inappropriate conversations. To quit inappropriate conversations. And instead pursue, claim your life back. Claim. Go to loneliness and don't be afraid. Go to seclusion and stay in meditative mode for a while. Because lots of us spend time with people we don't want to spend time with just because we're lonely. But if we want to be lonely, or not lonely, alone, if it's our talab, our desire, our purpose is to stay alone for a while, it's not going to be forever. Because everyone around us is wrong company. So that we're not going to suffer. But if we feel like, oh, I'm lonely, so I need to hang out with someone, then I'm going to call everybody. And I know that this company is wrong company. It's very important. It's a psychological thing. How we replace and take command. We decide to stay alone instead of hanging out with wrong company. And after that, Mullah Hussein says, ترک سخن بی‌معنی و طلب معارف ربانی. So, if you're hanging out and we have conversations that are meaningless, we should quit that. It will take so much of our energy when we do meaningless conversation. Like when I say things that doesn't mean anything to you, you want to fall asleep? Or just leave, you're polite, you don't. But the truth is, things that we can do because we're alone. We feel lonely. So we go to conversations that are meaningless. And we just don't understand how much of our life is taken away in meaningless conversation. So we don't have time or energy. Even if we try, we won't have energy for seeking true knowledge that will make us happy, seeking true experiences. So we have to quit and seek, claim the true knowledge, the experience of the Spirit that will make us happy. And Rumi here says, for the one who cannot control the tongue, is necessary to stay silent. And that's one of the best meditations. I can't be silent now, and it's hard for me. I like to talk. If one of my own challenges is to not talk when I shouldn't, and when I read this, I say, okay. And for the one who has something to say, Rumi says you shouldn't stay silent, like himself. He keeps telling himself, I go to silent, and he says, no, you have important things to say. You have to bring it. Somebody from elsewhere is pushing me to talk. And to quit sleeping too much, to quit sleeping both for the soul and for the body, and stay awake, both the inner and the outer. And if you look at all this quitting, it's just buying you life, making you live longer, because it keeps telling you, oh, you do this, you're losing your life. You quit it, you have more time for yourself, for your soul, for your heart. For the time, I'm gonna get out of this for a second. I was reading an article written by a nurse who was taking care of patients that were in their last 3 months of life. Like they had cancers, 4th stage, and this nurse took care of them, had this job for almost 10 years. And he asked everyone this question: why would you do if you knew you can go back like 20 years? And none of them said, I would work more. No? Or here, like, I would make more money. I would. Everyone said something in the realm of love. I would spend more time with my family. I would be in love. I would be nicer to this and that. Because once this life is going to get over, and once that moment happens, is the moment of truth. And we suddenly wake up. We can wake up now. That's what Rumi says. He says, die today. آزمودم مرگ من در زندگی است. چون رهم زین زندگی پایندگی است. I have tried, I have tested that my life is in my death. Once I depart from this life that I live in eternity. I stay alive for eternity. And, Rumi has this experience. He left his life prior to meeting Shams. That's why now we talk about him. Oh, people are asleep again. So there's 4 more, and then we go to the story. To not eat low-quality food and have a spiritual food. Number 6. Number 7, leave your comfort zone. Leave your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. All the creativity happens when you're uncomfortable.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because you put in that box, you put pain and pursuit, hardship and suffering. I understand the uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
is the hardship hardship and suffering.
Yeah, it's more accurate. I'm just being nicer now.
So it's more accurate to just be uncomfortable.
Well, he says comfort zone, and then Mullah Hussein put this there. And he says, actually, what I wrote there, because I did more study when I translated. Hardship, yes, and suffering. But it's not, when you claim it, you're not suffering. Remember that. We are suffering from lack of willpower. We don't suffer when we claim. There is a very, very, very important thing here, message here. When you claim, you say, I take this hardship and whatever suffering that comes with it, because I want it. You're not suffering anymore. But if you say, oh, I don't want to suffer, your suffering begins right there.
Is it more like the word accept than want?
No, want. You accept.
Comes from wanting the suffering?
No, it's want. It's seek. Is because I don't know. I don't mean like you like to hurt yourself. It's not a psychological disorder that I'm trying to explain. But it is the point when you leave your comfort zone, you're going to suffer. You're in a place you feel safe. You feel everything is fine. And you want to leave. He says, leave your comfort zone. Quit your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is a place you die. It's like you keep water in a place. It doesn't move for a while. It starts stinking. Nothing can live in it for long. Except for these red little fishes that you have to feed and make sure, But it has to move. So when you're in your comfort zone, you're preparing for death. Doesn't matter how long you live. It's good to go out of it, but intentionally. The whole point of this is that you claim, you pursue, you make a decision. And if you suffer, it doesn't taste the same as you would suffer, yes.
Could you say also that if you're looking for the growth in the experience, so you could call it suffering, but you could also just say it's the challenge of unlearning or learning. And so really what we're doing is we're looking for the golden experience, the wisdom, the learning, the thing that's going to make us free from that experience. So
Yes.
So it's not so much that we're looking to suffer, but rather that we want to get through the suffering so that we can be free.
I try to explain it somehow else. This world is a place to suffer. That's what the Quran says, and what Rumi kind of agrees with. It's a place you are born, you cry. You go through life, you go through pain. You age, you're getting closer to death. It's like inevitable. It's a big lie to say, oh, the suffering of the body can be non-existent in this life. That's one thing so when you agree that it exists and you claim it, then it doesn't suffer. It doesn't bother you as much. It doesn't mean like you want to suffer, but you claim it. I don't know how to say it better.
Maybe it's not running from the discomfort.
Oh, sure.
Being in and accepting it.
But when you accept it, accepting is good. It's coming later, actually, in another branch, when you accept. But you accept in happiness. That's actually, when you come to the point you accept, it's the concept of reza, means you agree, you accept, and you're still very happy. Like with all the problems, you float. You're in a state of happiness and tranquility. With every tsunami that comes to your shore, you're waltzing and nothing happens to you.
How many of us are there?
Very few on this earth. But that's the goal. That's the goal. If we say, I accept my suffering, it means that I'm passive. This path has no passive action. There's no moment that you are passive. It's you're on fire. You say, yes, I'll do it. I'm there. I'll take it. I want it. It's okay. It's available. I'll take that. Oh, beloved is giving me suffering. I want it. It's not like, no, just bring me sweetness. No, if I love you, bring me all. I'll have it all. And after that, the transformation happens. Because we are all after transformation when we deal with Rumi. Rumi is the monument of transformation. He had to go through a lot with Shams. He had to quit everything when he dealt with Shams. And this is nothing compared to that. These quittings that's mentioned here. And at the end, it comes fame and honor. You have to quit that too. That's the 10th one. We haven't got there. But you have questions too? No? Okay. So
kind of is like not thinking as a suffering, just accepting it as good. So not thinking give you this power that you claim that because you're God.
the whole point is first to agree to quit your comfort zone. It comes with that. Like, for example, for dervishes, the pir would tell them, the master, go, and he was very rich. And he would ask him to go beg, knock on your neighbor's door with the beggar bowl and ask and beg, just to break your ego. There was like those. Rumi, I don't think he ever did that or was following that tradition. But there's this. You come out of your comfort zone. You start losing what you think matters to you. And it suffers. It feels bad, no? And you accept the suffering that comes with it. You go out of it. It makes you uncomfortable. It brings you certain pain. But you have to first also claim and pursue that. So this happens smoothly. Otherwise, you go out of your comfort zone, you run back in. Needs a lot of courage. گفت تو دیوانه نیی، لایق این خانه نیی، رفتم و دیوانه شدم، سلسله بندنده شدم. مرده بودم، زنده شدم، گریه بودم، خنده شدم، دولت عشق آمد و من دولت پاینده شدم. دیده سیر است مرا، جان دلیر است مرا، زهره شیر است مرا، زهره تابنده شدم. This particular ghazal goes over, I was dead, I became alive. If we're truthful to ourselves, we know where we are dead. And we have to risk it. Rumi took these. He left his comfort zone. That's how he became Rumi. And that's why this exists in his work, because he gives us his experience. Then he says, my eyes are full, has no desire. دیده سیر است مرا. My eyes are full. Is not hungry anymore. I have the courage of the lion. زهره شیر است مرا. I have the light of the stars. زهره تابنده شدم. I enlighten. And that doesn't come for free. He explains then later what Shams asked him. And those exist here in these categories. Shams asked him to go mad, to go crazy. He says, گفت تو شیخی و سری راه رو و راه بری. شیخ نیم، پیش نیم، امر تو را بنده شدم. He tells him, you're the leader. You lead. He says, no, I'm not. I follow your order. I'm your servant. So he left. He quit his comfort zone. His comfort zone was being a professor, being a the main teacher of the main school in Konya. It was a major city of its time. And he meets Shams, who was a nobody, and he decides to follow his order, to be his servant, to learn from him, because Shams is alive. Rumi says, I was dead. Rumi has this clarity when he sees Shams. He sees somebody alive, and he knows with all the knowledge he has, he's dead. He says, give me what you have, because I am everything, but I don't want it. I want what you have because you are alive. You live the moment, you seize the moment. And with this, leaving your comfort zone, you practice your patience. It's very important. But it's also a decision. If suffering happens and we are patient, it's good. But if we make a decision to practice patience, it's better. Because we don't suffer as much then. We made that decision to leave our comfort zone. Now, through that suffering, we create it for ourselves. Not the universe, not a power outside of us. We don't feel powerless, we feel empowered. Now we can practice our patience on ourselves, on situations we created for ourselves. That's why you pursue and claim. You act. You act with courage. Now there's a few things about patience. Patience distinguishes for you the difference between beauty and beautiful and the ugly. A person who doesn't have patience cannot distinguish. Doesn't have time. It's the grab.
How would you define patience? How would you define patience? Understanding of patience. That's
It is. It needs a full night. I'll go over it. I'll go over it with Rumi, but it needs a full night. It's here. This patience is active, not passive. So it has that quality that you choose to change, to go out of your comfort zone. You know problems will come. You claim those problems and you stay patient with them. So you can see yourself from the outside. You can see who you are in the hardship. Somebody's calling me? No, my mom wants to call me sometimes when I have a Rumi night. She forgets. Like, there's a story I tell you that maybe it gives you an idea about patience or about this whole thing. There is a story in Rumi that the preacher, the sheikh, goes in the mosque, and every time he wants to say a prayer, he says good things and prayers for the bad people, for the people who were unjust to him, for people that were hurting him, or they're bad people like thieves and, crooks and all that. And people ask him, what's wrong with you? Why do you say prayers for them? They're horrible people. And he says, because every time I decided to go to pursue my earthly desires, they hurt me so hard that I ran right back on my path. So I owe them being on my path. I owe it to them. These smarter people, the crooks, they hurt me so hard that I noticed, no, that's not my realm. I have to run away. And you can see a taste of it. This is what also he brings here. There's many good stories that is and he says, God knows that after suffering, we all know after suffering, comfort tastes good. But you're always in comfort zone. What can make you happy? The only thing is if you go up again. If you never go down, then you're just like this. And this is when the heart stops. No? We don't want that life. It's the same. Oh, leave imitation, quit imitation, and claim, pursue research. Higher research on the field. Like when you leave your comfort zone, you put yourself on a field that you can research, you can experience for yourself. It's good to have a spiritual leader if you want to do things like that. Just don't do it on your own unless you know a lot. Or have good friends that would support you. And naz, who can translate a good naz for me? Persians here. Naz is playing hard to get. It says, if you love somebody but you're like hesitating, and Rumi says you have to quit that and instead take the position of showing your need. And that brings you suffering too. But because you take the position again, you're active. That's how a lover achieves happiness. Goes for it. ترک ناز و طلب دردمندی و نیاز. And number 10 is you leave fame. You quit your fame and honor. That's what one of the things Shams asked Rumi to do. Because it is one of the main reasons we don't do certain things. It's because we have, what would people say about me? I am Dr. da-da-da. No? What would people say if I do that? And that's a prison that would stop us from movement. That's the 10th one. And are you already tired? Or you...
The nose with the sugar?
What?
The sweetness, the sugar, is that word? Nose?
Nay. Nay is the sugar cane.
Oh, a nose is something.
And it means also no. Yeah, in Farsi. Nay has both meanings.
Nose?
No.
The word you just said before?
Nay. Nose.
What is
Naz.
like elusive?
Naz is playing hard to get. I don't know what I found, if I found a better thing here for you. Quit koi. I found koi for it. Yeah. It's good, no? Yeah. Quit that. Okay. What's the time?
10 to 9.
10 to 9. So I think this is almost half of it. So the rest of it, I leave it for you. If you have any questions after we finish, I'm here. Yes?
I know very, very little about Rumi. I mean, I know he was I guess, could you make an analogy, a comparison that Rumi to Persia, it was like Shakespeare to England? Is that how?
Yeah.
So famous
Yes.
brilliant?
Yes, if you want to put an analogy, but I would say maybe Hafez or Sadi. Maybe Sadi would be a good comparison to Shakespeare. For Rumi, it's very hard, but yes, it's as famous.
Philosopher and poet?
Yeah, he says all together. Yeah, and you know, it's not only Iran, like the Pakistanis read Rumi more than us, or the Turks, or Afghanistan, Tajikistan, everybody loves Rumi. Like over there, they all claim him. And I'm happy that I was born in the region he was born, so I even enjoy the expressions. Like there's some Mashhadi expressions in Rumi that some people elsewhere in Iran may not get it, because it's like he used a lot of like folklore. Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have energy to go over the story now? Okay. On your handout, you need a break? You need a break? You need a break? Who needs a break? 1, 2. Yeah, you're in the minority. If you can get, you have 3. One more. 1, 2, 4. Who doesn't need a break? Because I want to know who is lazy to even raise their hand. You all need a break for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes.